I should go.
Maybe you should stay.
They're not gonna stop looking.
I know.
There were two people who couldn't go out into the world, so they made a world with each other.
I'd take 20 more years just to have another 3 days with you.
I can't give you a family.
You already have.
Adele?
Are you a friend?
Just a handyman.
Well, congratulations on this film. We're really, really excited about this one. This is an emotional film. It got me.
I love to hear that. I love to make a grown man cry.
Well, I have to know that when you're writing this kind of material and when you're acting, like, in what kind of headspace are you in when you're making this? Is it emotional for you to work on this?
It was hugely emotional. I really became those characters. And actually, the story is told through the eyes of the young boy, played by Gattlin. And I became that boy. I've never been a 13-year-old boy, obviously, but I saw the world through his eyes. And I kind of lost track of time. I wrote the book in record time, 10 days. This is not how my writing life has been over the years, but I just had to find out what was going to happen to these people, and the only way to find out was to finish writing the book.
And what did you think when you were making those scenes that were they're tough to watch, but I imagine tough to be the actor in them?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you got to get your head in the right place, obviously. I read the book and the script countless times over and over, and and Jason, Mr. Reitman, he did such a great job of putting me in the mindset, he'd, Miss Winslet, Mr. Brolin, they all helped me out. They'd let me know what to think whenever I had questions. You just had to be emotional.
I think you and my sense was, and I wasn't around for a lot of the filming, that you and Kate Winslet formed a real bond.
Yeah.
And almost deliberately, Kate just sort of stayed with you.
Mm-hmm. She was basically my mother on set, kind of.
And I understand last night you signed a book for everyone in the audience.
Being a writer is a pretty lonely
Yeah.
task, and I don't often get to be around when somebody reads my book. So to sit in a theater and hear people, feel people being moved by words that I wrote is the best. And so I wanted to meet every single person. And I have to say, people have been loving this movie. It's a quiet movie. It's some people would say a movie like this can't survive anymore, that people just want action, blockbuster, buildings exploding, guns, chases, and I'd like to prove them wrong. I think movie viewers are going to surprise us. The explosions are between Kate Winslet and Josh Brolin.
Yeah. And we're lucky to have you here. You're going to actually be at the rodeo.
Yes, sir. Fuller Stock Show. I'll be performing with my three little brothers there.
And that's something you came into because your family had stunts?
Yes, sir. I'm a fourth generation. My great-grandpa did it. My grandpa did it. My grandma and grandpa are actually in the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame. My dad's also a stuntman. It runs through the family.
Well, we're definitely going to have to check that out.
Yes,
now,
please.
the show is the Drew Pearson Show, and Drew famously called the Hail Mary Pass, and we ask everybody their Hail Mary moment in their lives where they just kind of had to go for it, and it worked out for them. What do you suppose that was?
Whoa, what a great question. Well, I'd say my Hail Mary moment was probably risking telling the truth. I used to be a writer when I was very young. I was trying to please everybody. And there were some things that I didn't say because they made people uncomfortable. And when I wrote the story of my life, that was probably my Hail Mary moment when I said, you know what? If people don't like what I have to say, that's their problem. And I've been an honest writer ever since.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think mine's that deep.
Well, you're young. Give it time.
I don't have much experience. I mean, I guess like a highlight of my life so far has been Labor Day. That kind of changed everything. When I learned that I had gotten it, I put so much work in that I had gotten it, and then I kept putting work in, and just the whole experience was my catch.
Oh, that's great.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a guy, huh?
Oh, I love that. And we're also going to ask you your show pitch moment, the moment you knew that you were discovered. And I know yours came very early on.
You go.
But the moment that I actually had success as a writer very young.
Right.
I was on the cover of the New York Times Magazine when I was 18. Not something I would recommend. Youthful success, actually. But I think that I had to write for many more years before I recognized it wasn't anymore about selling a bunch of books or getting great reviews, but writing a story that moved somebody. I saw that last night, people coming up to me and saying, this story gives me hope. People saying, you know, I want to come back and bring my husband, bring my boyfriend. That to me is success, and it's not measured in, you know, whether this gets the biggest box office. But I think it might get some good box office.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when I was a young boy, I told my dad, I want 3 things this year. I want to be in a newspaper. I want my own trophy, and I want to be in a commercial. My dad was like, "Wait, it's not that easy. You can't just wish for those things to happen." I was like, "No, I'm gonna go ahead and do them."
How old were you?
I was 7.
7.
So at 8, that same time next year, I had been in the newspaper for Boy Scouts. I'd got my own trophy for soccer, and I had booked an international Yamaha commercial. So you know, I set my mind to stuff and I do it.
Wow.
That's amazing. So what do you suppose when people ask you about this film years from now, what do you suppose is the day or the moment or the scene that you'll always remember about this?
For me, it will be the first day of the shooting, and this is a dream come true for a writer. I've flown across the country to teach Josh Brolin how to make the pie, and I'm back in New England where I come from, and I'm driving my little Honda Civic into the main street of the town of Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts, and every single thing in that has been set up just the way I wrote it. And the store is stocked with groceries from 1987, and the characters are walking around wearing clothes that I described in the book and driving a car that I said was in the book, and they have names that I gave them, and they're Kate Winslet and Josh Brolin and Gattlin Griffith. How cool is that, to take something that started in your imagination and comes to life?
That is so cool.
Well, you know, I obviously Kate and Josh were like the main thing, but I worked really hard to understand, I think, what Henry was feeling, and you know, I kept my mind focused the whole movie until they said that's a wrap, and then it was kind of a weird moment, you know, to put all that work in and just have it be over. That next month was really weird, you know, not working and having to go home and go back to regular life. It was I missed it a lot that next month.
Yeah. Very last thing I want to ask you is because I know people are going to look up to you as an author and as an actor. What advice would you give someone that's getting into the business just now?
You know, people always want to know how to get published, how to get an agent, and I say, whoa, 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 whoa. Just do your best work and let it come. And when I have thought the least about that is when I've done my best work.
Yeah, and always have a positive attitude, you know, believe the glass is half full. You know, everything happens for a reason, so don't let the little things get you down, and have hope in everything you do.
And this is a story about having hope.
Yeah.
This is about 2 people who would have seemed to have like used up all their luck, and then something happens.
Well, thank you all so much for being with us. I
A
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
A pleasure.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.